Sade? Okay. Okay. Wow, so if we make our body less acidic, then we can have less illnesses.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Okay. Thank you so much for that. All right. Now we're going to get to our next presenter. And let me just read. She's Erica Brown. She's a nutritionist. Oh, don't we need a nutritionist? She's also a wellness coach, a personal trainer. She's the founder of Fit and Well Coaching. She has a degree in nutrition and exercise science from Virginia Tech and is currently working on her master's in nutrition and wellness. She also is a nutrition professor at Mercer County College. I'm so happy to have you here. So please, let's give it for
Thank you so much for the introduction. And I have to start by saying, Sade, that was an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
I was just sitting there, thank you. I mean, I was sitting there just like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I saw it.
You're so right, you know, and it's because I've experienced some of the same things that you have experienced, which is, you know, what brought me to where I am today also. Like you know, and like most of us here, we've just been exposed to so much fast food, and you go in the grocery store, it's just like exactly like you were saying. And I remember as a child eating a bowl of chocolate ice cream every night, sprinkles every night, literally, before I went to sleep. Those TV dinners that you were talking about.
Yep.
You know, so, and I managed to stay healthy because I was an athlete, so I was pretty active, so I always stayed, or I thought I was fairly healthy. Until I got to college, and I didn't start playing sports until the end of my freshman year. So that beginning of freshman year is when I really started to see my health change. And I had no idea about nutrition, even though I was an athlete, which nutrition is really important when it comes to being an athlete and just everyone in general. But you know, I was eating the food on campus at Virginia Tech, if you don't know, is one of the top 10 dining services in the country as far as they have the best tasting food, and they have all-you-can-eat buffets. And I used to get this quesadilla, and I didn't know until they came out with the nutrition facts that it was about 1,000 calories for the one quesadilla, and I was like, I used to eat that all the time. So, you know, not knowing is one of the problems with when you're just eating and you're not knowing what's in your food, you're not knowing what's, you know, how much calories, and I'm not all for calorie counting, but just the knowledge of where your food's coming from is really important. And I started to see my body change, and I started to see my health change, my skin change. And I thought, you know, I'm an athlete, I play lacrosse, and I really feel like I want to play well, I want to be healthy. And I really started, that's when I changed my major to nutrition, which was the best decision I think I've ever made. Learned a lot in college, but learned even more after, you know, with just through all my experiences and getting more into the holistic side. And I had some health problems also that spurred me to do nutrition. The acid thing is a huge problem. And I actually have a condition called, or I did, it has a long name, it's called eosinophilic esophagitis, which is EE for short. And it's actually when your esophagus gets inflamed. And this is from eating a lot of high acidic foods. And they tried to put me on antacids and you know, medications, and I really didn't want to be on medications that would basically kill my natural stomach acid. So I took the alternative route and did pretty much exactly what you were talking about, you know, the alkaline types of foods, more fruits and vegetables, natural supplementation, like aloe vera, for example, can soothe the intestinal tract. And I chose that route instead, and I have been perfectly fine. What happens when your esophagus gets inflamed is you can't swallow food. So I had 2 instances where I've had to go to the hospital. So it's really scary. and really serious, and I'm glad that I was able to take care of that. But, all right, moving forward, I'm here really to talk to you about nutrition and how to take control of your own health. And also pairing that, since I am a personal trainer, with the fitness aspect. Because I really think that both fitness and nutrition go hand in hand. And if you want to see the most success, you have to pair them both together. You can eat healthy, which is great. I think that nutrition is maybe the bigger part of it. But if you sit and you're sedentary all day, especially the desk jobs, you're not moving around, you're going to have most likely lower health status or more likely to get health problems in the future. So, the exercise goes along really closely with the nutrition. And the same thing, if you exercise, but you go and you eat fast food places all day long, you really can't exercise off all that junk and what that junk is creating in your body. You can't reverse that from exercise. So really you have to have the two together. And like Sade said, there's just, in our society today, they make it really difficult. Technology is huge. I can do my work from my phone right now and respond to emails and talk with clients, without having to get up and do much of anything. And most people, as a personal trainer, at least I'm on my feet, but most people sit at a desk all day. So, with the advances of technology, combined with the easy access to cheap, processed food-like substances, as Michael Pollan, one of my favorite authors, likes to say, they're not real foods, but they taste like food. They taste pretty good. And let me tell you, the food industry is really good at knowing how much salt and how much sugar and how much fat to put in foods to make you just want to eat more and more and more of it and never be fully satisfied because you're not getting any nutrients out of it. So, taking a different approach and giving your body what it actually wants and what it actually needs instead of continuing to fill with all of these processed junk foods that you think your body's craving, you'll be really surprised that once you give your body more of those nutrients that it needs, you won't crave as much of that junk food, and it won't be as difficult as you might think it is. So, the take-home message is definitely taking responsibility. You are not a victim of the Western diet, as some people think, because you do have the power. You have the power to vote with your fork every single day by what you buy. And you'll see the food industry change. You will. It already has. More of a push toward organic foods, more of a push of people going to farmers markets. When you choose what you eat and you stop buying that junk, the food industry is going to respond to that, and they already are. I can get in and talk all day about, the hormones and the antibiotics and the meats industries, but we'll save that. You can come talk to me at my booth when I'm done. But I want you to take a look at your diet, and let's break it down. And as I'm talking here, thinking in your head, what do you do? Do you do this? Some questions to ask, because whenever I work with a client, the first thing that I do, besides getting their medical history, is go through what they're currently doing now. Because if you don't know what you're currently doing, you don't know what you should change or how to change it. I can't give advice to somebody just by saying, well, you need to eat this, 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 and this. Well, maybe they don't like any of those things. So really using the foods that you do like or trying to find new foods that you do like is really important, and just evaluating your own diet. So let's start with looking at your meal timing, because it's not just what you eat, but also how you eat. One of the biggest problems I see is people having a huge dinner because they're so starving by the time they get home. And when they're ready to sit down and relax, they tend to overeat at night. And I say, well, when are you eating lunch? 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, so there's a huge gap of time between their lunch and dinner. So for many people, eating smaller amounts frequently throughout the day is a good way to stabilize blood sugar levels, which blood sugar levels play a big role in our health. And they play a big role in the way our body responds and craves food. So if you look at blood sugar like a track or a roller coaster, most people in the Western society have this kind of thing going on, where they're eating a big meal, high carbohydrates, pasta, bread, rice, processed snack foods. And what happens is the body breaks it down into the glucose, which is the smallest form of the sugar, and the blood sugar levels go up. And then what happens is, without getting into too much scientific detail, the body can bring that sugar to the tissues, whether to be used as energy or if we're sitting at our desk all day to be stored as body fat, and the blood sugar levels drop down. And when it's here, when it's low, that's when we get those hungry, or you get falling asleep at your desk. If you ever fall asleep at your desk, a lot of times it's because you ate a lot of carbohydrate and maybe didn't have the balance of the proteins and the balance of the healthy fats in there too to help slow down that absorption. So that is the key, is eating consistently throughout the day. Try not to let your blood sugar drop too low, where you have those cravings, you have the drop in energy levels. By eating the right combination, we'll talk again too about nutritional balance. So looking at your nutritional balance, not just with the acid alkaline foods, because that's definitely a way to look at the balance, but also the nutrients themselves. Is your diet very heavy carbohydrate based? And are you, for somebody who's a triathlete, then that is definitely necessary. But for a majority of people who are sitting, sedentary, moderately exercising, we don't need, tons of processed, especially the processed carbohydrates. And there are plenty of healthy carbohydrates too. But balancing that with protein sources and with dietary fats is really important for our overall health, making sure we get in all the nutrients, and balancing the blood sugar levels. So meal timing, and then looking at your food quality. So not just how much you're eating, but what types of foods are you eating. Are you eating a majority of foods that are processed and packaged, that have to just be heated up in a microwave? Or, it takes a little bit of extra work sometimes to eat the whole foods, but it's really not that hard. That little extra effort can make a huge difference in your health. If you think of all the times you spend going to the doctor, you can sacrifice a little bit of time to plan ahead, go to the grocery store, stock up on good foods, and do a little cooking. Cooking can be fun, and you can still get some good. Anyone cooking here? I know we're on the go, we're go type of people and in today's society, and it can be hard. And you can find yourself eating at your desk while you're working, or eating while you're driving in the car because that's the only time that you have. And that's another problem with the Western culture, besides the food industry, is how we're eating. So taking the time, you might find if you just are able to sit down and taste your food and enjoy your food, that you'll actually feel satisfied by the end, and you won't be like, oh, I just ate this huge thing and looking for more things to eat. So especially when you're eating in front of the TV, you find that you might get distracted, and all of a sudden that bag of pretzels and potato chips is gone, and you're still hungry. So, all right, empty calories, that goes along with food quality. Am I drinking my calories in the form of sugary drinks, energy drinks? And energy drinks is another thing that goes with the blood sugar. That we get that crash in the afternoon because we're not stabilizing the blood sugar levels. So we reach for that energy drink to boost us up, which only gives us temporary relief. Nonetheless drains your adrenal system and has other health implications with energy drinks. But just those empty calories that really add up quickly. I mean, just one Pepsi, a large 20-ounce Pepsi from a fast food place has 250 calories. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. 70 grams of sugar. 70 grams. That is more than 2 times the RDA recommended daily allowance for added sugar, twice in just one drink. So the sugar in added sugar is a big problem, especially in those empty calorie foods. Nutrients. Am I eating nutrient dense foods? So if you compare calories for nutrients, for the calories I'm getting, am I getting in a sufficient amount of nutrients? So for example, a nutrient dense food would be something like spinach. Lower calorie, but super high in lots of different vitamins and minerals. Whereas something like soda is higher calories, but really doesn't give you any nutrients. And on top of that, gives you some some chemicals that your body doesn't really know what to do with either. So, looking at the meal timing, the food quality, are you getting in empty calories? I've had clients that even just taking out this eliminating soda as the first step, they see a huge difference in their health. Nutritional balance, are you balancing your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats and making healthy choices? And nutrients, eating nutrient-dense foods, specifically an abundance of fruits and vegetables. So all those questions are really good questions to ask yourself. As far as your nutrition aspect goes, now we're going to switch gears a little bit to the fitness aspect. So again, looking at your own habits first and seeing what you can do to improve and maybe add some extra activity to your life. There's different components of fitness. There's a cardiorespiratory aspect, which is anything that involves the heart and the lungs and the blood and keeping everything healthy. So activities like walking, running, swimming, biking, all of those count as cardiorespiratory exercises. You have your strength exercises, so either muscular strength, how much weight can your muscles hold, how strong are you, and working those muscles. Flexibility is another one of the aspects of fitness. So, actually being able to move through life. So, being flexible, you might, be uncomfortable just bending over to pick something up. Inflexible in the hips, inflexibility in the hamstrings can cause knee problems. So, our body works as one unit. So we need to work all the aspects of fitness, including flexibility, which a lot of people leave out. And then even neuromotor exercise. So this is more functional fitness. This is more like balance, agility, coordination. You can even train to be better at those things, which always helps. So I'm going to read to you the most recent recommendations by the American College of Sports Medicine, and you can decide for yourself if you're meeting the recommendations or not. So as far as cardiorespiratory exercise, according to the ACSM, adults should get at least 150 minutes of moderate to intense physical activity per week. So this could look like 30 to 60 minutes of moderate exercise 5 days per week, or 20 to 60 minutes of vigorous exercise 3 times per week. As long as you get in the recommendation of 150 minutes. And they say that it doesn't have to be that long 60-minute session or 30-minute section. If you can do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes in the evening. If it means leaving your desk in the middle of the day, which is one thing that I do recommend to many people, and going out, especially now that the weather is nice, and going out and taking a walk outside, moving the legs, getting some air, all that counts towards your total exercise time. And they point out, if you're getting discouraged, if you're not meeting these recommendations, that even if you're unable to meet the minimum, but you are getting an exercise, you will still see some benefit from that activity. So a little activity is better than no activity. As far as resistance exercise, the ACSM recommends that adults should train each muscle group. You have many muscle groups, 2 or 3 days each week using a variety of exercises and equipment. And if you're saying, well, I don't know what muscle groups there are, and I don't know all the different exercises to train, like I'm supposed to walk into a gym and just do something, well, there are people to help. There are personal trainers, there are things, guides to look at online. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Even trainers need trainers. Okay, even trainers need people sometimes to be accountable to and to push them to limits that they wouldn't push themselves. So don't be embarrassed or ashamed to go and ask for help and go out and look for a personal trainer. Okay, let's see. Getting adequate rest between resistance exercise. So when you weight lift, your muscles break down. That's how they build back up. But if you don't give yourself adequate rest or recovery in between, then you're not going to reap all the benefits. And that includes having a good diet. If you're not eating properly, your muscles are not going to recover properly, and therefore you're not going to see as good results. As far as flexibility recommendations, ACSM says adults should do flexibility exercises at least 2 or 3 days each week to improve range of motion. You should hold each stretch for 10 to 30 seconds. just to a point of slight discomfort, not pain. And repeat each stretch 2 or 4 times. And they recommend to stretch when the muscle is warm. So doing a little bit of cardiovascular exercise, like walking and then stretching, is a good idea to get the muscles warm. I always relate it to your muscles to a rubber band. So if a rubber band is cold, let's say it's put in the fridge or freezer, and you go to stretch it, what happens? Breaks. However, if you warm up the rubber band really good, it'll start to stretch and warm it up even more. It can stretch even farther and farther. Does anyone ever try hot yoga? They raise the temperature up to 105 degrees and you're like, wow, I'm pretty flexible in here. So, warming the muscles up first, going for a little brisk walk, and then doing your stretching will help you get more benefits out of the flexibility exercises and, allow you to be more comfortable doing it and avoid injury while doing it. And then as far as neuromotor exercise, so that's the balance, agility, coordination, ACSM recommends 2 or 3 days per week involving all of those things that I mentioned. Also things like yoga could be included in the neuromuscular because a lot of balancing usually in yoga classes. 20 to 30 minutes per day is appropriate, so not as much. But for some people, and everybody's an individual, and that's what I want to stress also, you may need more in one area than the other. So just learning what you need as an individual as far as exercise and nutrition goes is really important. So taking a look at your own diet, your own exercise habits, and saying, where are the gaps here? Where am I falling short as far as my eating goes? Where am I falling short as far as exercise? And I recommend scheduling it as exercise into your day, just like you would schedule any other appointment. That's the only way you're going to really stick to it and have a plan. Don't be afraid to have a plan, because when you're just flying by the seat of your pants and you find yourself like, I'm not going to exercise today, and it helps to have a personal trainer at the gym waiting for you too. And that makes you have to schedule schedule exercise into your day. And many people work crazy hours, and I don't have time. Like I said, even that brisk walk, getting away from your desk in the afternoon. If you're a morning person, getting up early in the morning, it can take a commitment at first. It can be difficult at first, but once you start feeling and seeing the benefits from it, you're not going to want to stop doing it. So, in conclusion, everyone is an individual, and I definitely take an individualized approach when it comes to my clients. And I think that everyone has the power to take control and not be victims of the Western diet and the Western society. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Thank you very much.